Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon. Well, the favorite to succeed UK Prime Minister Theresa May, former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, has launched his Conservative Party leadership bid with a promise to take Brexit out of the EU on October 31 with or without a deal. How are the markets digesting this Thursday?
Well, good afternoon, Chimmy. At intraday, the FTSE is performing well, and it has actually just been announced that 3 candidates have been knocked out of the Tory party race. Boris Johnson is leading with 114 votes, followed by the Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt and the Environment Secretary Michael Gove. There's no doubt about it, the market will want the UK to leave the EU with a deal. Crashing out could mean a crash in economy, which is why Boris Johnson yesterday actually said on the record that he is not aiming for a no-deal Brexit. But let's look at the numbers. The all-share is up by 0.09%. The FTSE 100 index also up 26 points at 0.21%. And the FTSE 250 is up by 0.30%. The FTSE is being influenced by events in the Middle East. There's that fire there. And, of course, the UK housing market. In currency, sterling is underperforming versus the euro and the dollar today, down by 0.17% on the dollar. A pound will get you $1.26 today. It's also down against the euro by 0.14%. A pound will get you €1.12. And we're also down on the Japanese yen by 0.16%.
An interesting news coming out today, though somewhat worrisome. PwC has been fined £6.5 million over lack of competence in audit. Can you flesh out the story for us? Which companies are involved? Of course, questions many are beginning to ask is, why are accountants getting their sums wrong?
Well, this is a growing story, Chimmy. Britain's accounting watchdog, the Financial Reporting Council, have handed down this major fine to PricewaterhouseCoopers because the firm have been accused of showing a serious lack of competence in its audit work. PwC's IT client RedCentric was shown to have had a £20 million black hole in its 2016 financial statements, which went totally unchallenged by 2 named individuals at PwC. Now, the FRC watchdog said breaches like this were numerous and in certain cases basic or fundamental in the nature at PwC. Now, PwC have apologized today and admitted that its work fell below the professional standards expected of the company. Now, the £6.5 million fine that you spoke about was actually reduced to £4.55 million because of the way they conducted the assessment. Now, the audit sector is facing sweeping reforms and higher scrutiny from the government in a bid to improve standards in auditing after the high-profile collapse of construction company Carillion earlier this year and the retailer BHS, which was a client of PwC. So it's a very important story.
Okay, and another interesting one there. The new UK nuclear power plant at Sizewell in Suffolk could add £6 to energy bills. Sure, this should be a concern to you, Juliana, isn't it?
Well, this is a concern not just for me, but for the millions of UK householders. These proposals are still awaiting government clearance and approval from an arm of the UK government, the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. Now, EDF Energy are proposing to build a new nuclear power station that the developers say will bring the cost of nuclear power in the UK closer to current global market rates. EDF already have a controversial construction underway in the UK. It's called Hinkley Point, which at completion will generate power that costs the UK double the current market cost at £92.50 per megawatt hour. Now, EDF have argued that this new Sizewell station will cost less than Hinkley Point, decreasing energy costs from 20 billion to 16 billion pounds. The only issue is that, as you said, users would have to pay for the construction up front, and it's been suggested that this could cost £6 per person on top of your average annual energy bill. Now, users are unlikely to be happy with this, because what we've seen in the UK over the past few years is that giant providers such as British Gas and E.ON have been slashing their prices in a bid to give consumers the best deal. So in a competitive war, what you're not usually used to seeing is the prices rise. But like I said, we're still waiting government approval on this construction.
Well, let's just hope that something positive comes out of it, because no one will want to add more money to the bills. Thank you, Juliana. Enjoy the rest of the day. In Asia, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index closed fractionally lower today, a day after violent clashes between protesters and riot police over a controversial extradition bill. In China, stocks finished higher, with the Shanghai Composite up slightly and the Shenzhen Composite rising fractionally to about 8,851 points. Japan's Nikkei 225 slipped 0.46%. In South Korea, the Kospi shared 0.27%. In the U.S., stock index futures were slightly higher today after President Donald Trump declined to set a deadline on levying tariffs on another $325 billion of Chinese goods. The Dow futures indicated positive open of more than 60 points. Futures on the S&P and Nasdaq were also slightly higher. The surge in oil prices also contributed to the positive numbers. Meanwhile, market focus is largely attuned to global trade developments amid intensifying tensions between the world's two largest economies. And on commodities, World Fair Trade USA plans to increase the flour price and fixed premium it requires companies to pay cocoa farmers under its certification system. The increase is designed to improve livelihoods in a sector that has long grappled with farmer poverty, child labor, and deforestation. The nonprofit will increase its minimum price for conventional cocoa to $2,400 per ton from $2,000 for organic cocoa. The price will be $300 over this minimum or the market price, whichever is higher at the time. The premium, which is used to fund community projects, will increase to $240 per ton from $200. The new pricing structure will take effect on October 1, 2019. Meanwhile, Ghana and Ivory Coast have suspended forward sales of cocoa beans for the 2020-2021 season, as buyers and sellers are set to discuss a minimum price proposal. The two West African nations account for nearly two-thirds of global output, yet they exert limited influence over international cocoa prices, which have stayed low in recent years due to overproduction. Representatives from the world's top two cocoa producers are meeting in Ghana's capital, Accra, to discuss farmers' living standards. And when we come back after the break, we'll talk pineapple on the domestic commodities scene. Stay with us.